you. I'm calling this meeting to order, and tonight's presentations of colors is from the Irwin High School. This is instructed by Chief Tony Gutierrez and Army retired, and Sergeant First Class Chad Previtt, Army retired. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you for remaining standing, and let's have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. You may be seated.
Sorry, stuff's
I would like to, at this time to recognize Ken Ulmer. Where is Ken?
right there.
Oh, please stand. He's our new Chief Communications Officer, and we welcome him to Buncombe County Schools. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve this agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. I believe that's a motion and a second. Could all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Superintendent's comments.
Good evening, parents, members of the community, board members, and teammates. I received our enrollment numbers for month 5 this past week. We posted our highest month 5 enrollment since the 2019-2020 school year. I'm very proud that parents of students who have been enrolled in private schools, charter schools, or homeschools are choosing to enroll their children in our school system. I believe that this growth trend is being driven by the academic, artistic, and athletic success of our students, and especially by the high quality of our teachers, faculty, and staff. Speaking of high-quality teachers, I'm looking forward to the opportunity to recognize our Teachers of the Year this evening. This week, we are celebrating National School Social Workers Week. We're so grateful for and dependent on the fact that, as others have said, school social workers are exceptionally skilled in providing services to students who face serious challenges to school success, including disability, poverty, discrimination, abuse, neglect, mental illness, homelessness, bullying, familiar stressors, and other barriers to learning. The difference our social workers make is hard to measure, but easy to feel. Thank you to each of our school social workers. I would like to share with the board and with the community that Buncombe County Schools is hosting an educator career fair on this Saturday, March 9th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here in this building. This is an amazing school system, and we are looking for an incredible and dedicated educators to join our team. For those who may be interested in attending the job fair or applying in person for a position, please feel free to call the school system for more details or refer to our website. Last week, I had the opportunity to join board members and district staff members in enjoying the talents of our youngest student musicians as our elementary, intermediate, and middle school all-county course performed. It was amazing. A huge shout out to our music educators across the school system. What a tremendous example of what it means to be a school system as students came together from Alexander to Azalea to Asheville, from Jupiter to Skyland to Inca, from Leicester to Montford to Montreat, and from Candler to Swannanoa to Forks of Ivy. Their voices joined in harmony, vividly demonstrated how our Buncombe County school system is the tapestry that weaves together all of the communities of our great county. This week, we completed our 13th community town hall. We have had 2 town hall meetings in each of our 6 districts and an additional virtual town hall meeting. I've tremendously enjoyed meeting parents and community members and want to thank all who were able to attend. I'd like to especially thank our board members for their attendance. I want to thank our district team members, school staff members, and our sign language and Spanish interpreters who were present at town halls. Combined with meetings with our Student Advisory Council, our Teacher Advisory Council, our principals and assistant principals, staff meetings in all 45 of our schools, meetings with community and civic groups, meetings with town councils, city councils, and commissioners, and our school system survey, we have literally had thousands of responses and great feedback as we continue to revise the strategic plan we will offer to the board for your consideration during the May board meeting. It is important to me and to our team that we are responsive to our community and transparent in all we do. I hope that all of these meetings throughout the county demonstrate that commitment. We know that we still have much work to do and that we can and must continue to improve. I just want you to know that I could not be prouder of all I continue to experience in our classrooms and in our schools. We know that students, families, and the community have never needed a strong, loving, and caring school system as much as they do now. We accept this challenge. We commit to each and every one of our students. We will elevate to new and majestic heights. We'll give our all because our students are worthy of our very best efforts. To our team and to our board members, thank you for all you do for the students, families, teachers, and staff of Buncombe County Schools. Madam Chair, this concludes my comments.
Thank you. At this time, I'll recognize, well, I was expecting, never mind. I was expecting our new communication person to handle this, and since he didn't rise, Dr. Reed has risen, and I'm assuming because she rose, she's in charge of this portion of the good news. Let's hope I'm correct.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm in charge of this portion, but there's a very important person behind the scenes in everything we do tonight.
Okie doke.
Madam Chair, Dr. Jackson, and members of the board, it is my pleasure, my distinct pleasure, to bring our good news this evening, which also serves as our curriculum feature, and that is to recognize our Buncombe County Schools Teachers of the Year. Every one of our teachers makes an incredible difference each day. Beyond teaching content, they nurture students and they inspire them to see possibilities for themselves that they may never have thought of or seen before. Tonight we spotlight teachers who also inspire their coworkers, and they fully embody the spirit of their school communities. We celebrate tonight the Teachers of the Year, many of whom are with us right in front of me this evening, many of whom I know so well and have so much respect for, some of whose classroom I was in today, and so I know firsthand the amazing work that they do. Tonight, the person who will take over here is to my left, and that is our current Teacher of the Year, Miss Mara Brower from A.C. Reynolds High School. She is an incredible teacher, and she does so much inside and outside of her classroom that I have witnessed this year. So it is my pleasure to welcome Ms. Mara Brower here to take us to the next stage of our recognition.
Everyone. I really appreciate the chance to be here and speak in front of everyone. Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Jackson, members of the board, and everyone that's here that's present tonight. We're so excited to honor all of you for earning the distinguished title of Teacher of the Year for your schools. Thank you for being the leaders that you are, not only in your classrooms and learning spaces, but throughout our entire school system. It was an honor to read all of your essays, and on behalf of the Teacher of the Year Committee, we cannot thank you enough for all of your time and effort effort that you put into everything that you turned in, while you still continue to be the amazing people that you are throughout our county and our schools. So thank you so much. I will call each of you to the front by your school districts, and I promise to do my very best to pronounce your names correctly because you all deserve that, most certainly. So we will start off with our at-large district, if you will stand up. And as I call your name, if you'll come on down, and Dr. Reed will give you your certificate. If you'll stand in front, we'll have your picture taken with your school board member. Okay. First up, we have Caitlin Burnett from Nesbitt Academy. Unity High. Come on down. Yeah. Perugini from BCS Virtual Academy. Thank you. Will the teachers from Enka District please stand and make your way down? First, we have Meredith Allen from Enka Intermediate. Jennifer Anderson from Hominy Valley Elementary. Okay. Sydney Fox, Candler Elementary. Matthew Long, Enka High. Pavlina, Pisgah Elementary. Okay, I'm gonna try. Cynthia Srijayanta, Sandhill, Venable, Citrianda, Sandhill Venable Elementary. And Martha Talent, Enka Middle School. Our Teachers of the Year from Irwin, come on down. I know. Is it Brenna Banks first? Okay, first we have Brenna Banks from Woodfin Elementary. Johnston Elementary. Lester Elementary. Louise Hall, West Buncombe Elementary. Jessica Jones, Irwin High. Michelle Napick, Eblin Intermediate. Heather Roy, Emma Elementary.
Jennifer Anderson's sister. Okay. Yeah, she's the media coordinator at Hominy Valley. Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Teachers of the Year from the North District, please come on down. North Buncombe, sorry. North Buncombe. Right from the north. From the north.
North Asheville? Is that North Asheville?
Okay. Jill Bell, Weaverville Elementary. Rachel Brillisauer, West Windy Ridge Intermediate. I think she's not here tonight. North Windy Ridge. Lee Jameson, Weaverville Primary. Jody Mann, North Buncombe Elementary. North Buncombe High. Barnardsville Elementary. And Allison McQuinn, North Buncombe Middle.
Surely those aren't like just for our.
Congratulations.
Oh, if y'all. We'll get it figured out, don't mind us. Next, we have our Owen District, and first up, we have Kim Clark, Owen High. Joy Inabinet, Owen Middle. Sarah Josie, Black Mountain Elementary. And Catherine Lawfer, W.D. Williams Elementary.
Kim was probably one of the teachers too. She came in with me.
The year from the Reynolds District, please come forward. Okay. All right, first we have Brian Barnhouse, Reynolds High School. B. Edenfield Estes, Oakley Elementary. Cane Creek Middle, she's not here tonight. Hensley Haw Creek Elementary. Ashley Osmondson, Reynolds Middle School. He's not here tonight. Sanders, Fairview Elementary. Cycle, Bell Elementary. Okay, and would the Teachers of the Year from the Robertson District please come forward?
Well, Mr. Buckley.
First, we have Paul Buckley, Glen Arden Elementary. He's not here this evening. Drury, Estes Elementary. Jeffrey Eckler, sorry about that, Avery's Creek Elementary. Galbert, Robertson High School, TC Robertson. Keith Cloman, Valley Springs Middle School. Elizabeth Roberts, Kuntz Intermediate. Now it is my pleasure to share the names of the Buncombe County Teachers of the Year for each district. And I can say with confidence, these were very difficult decisions. You all are so amazing, and we're so grateful for everything that you do. Once you come up here, if you'll stand up front and stay up front so we can take a picture of all of you, that would be great. From the at-large district, we have Caitlin Burnett of Nesbitt Discovery Academy. Enka District, Martha Talent of Enka Middle School. Irwin District, Jessica Jones for Irwin High School. From the North Buncombe District, Lee Jameson of Waverville Primary. From the Owen District, Laura Josie of Black Mountain Elementary. The Reynolds District, Taylor Sanders of Fairview Elementary. And from the Robertson District, Jeffrey Eckler of Avery's Creek Elementary. Congratulations, everyone. And if our district winners would actually head on outside, we're going to take a picture with a pretty Asheville background with you. So head on outside, grab your things, and
Congratulations. Madam Chair, if I could just say something real quick while these folks are getting their picture made. I am on the Buncombe County Schools Foundation Board as well, so I was able to sit in on the interviews of these folks, and I'm telling you, these folks are outstanding. Not just our district winners, but the teachers that are also winners from each of their schools. It will really make you feel good to know these teachers are really doing their job because they love kids, and they're very good with what they do. So I'd like for us to give them another round of applause. They're all great.
I'm not planning on saying anything. Well, Amy's wanting to go to the bathroom after 19 public comments. Congratulations. You're always
Good either way.
just saying.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Appreciate you, social worker.
cheer us on, maybe give us some good public comment?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Yeah. That's good. How'd that go? Great. Yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I need to get back to him. She's like,
Thank you. Now that we've reorganized ourselves,
Oh, gosh.
it's time for public comment, and I'll ask our attorney to read the rules.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everybody. It's now time for public comment. As a reminder, speakers will be called in the order in which they have signed up. I do believe there are around 19 or so this evening. All speakers will have 3 minutes to speak. You will see the lights on the end of the dais over there. When you have about 30 seconds left, the yellow light will turn on, and at the end, the red light will turn on. We do ask members of the public to be respectful, to refrain from making threats, revealing confidential student or personnel information, or using profanity or lewd language. We do ask that you address the board as a whole, and please know that while the board, our board members are taking notes, they are listening. Board members generally will not respond directly to public comment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
all right, Madam Chair, we have 19 public comments. The first is Rendell Hips. And just please state your name when you reach the mic and the district that you're speaking from.
Rendell Hips. I grew up at Johnston Elementary School, a graduate from Irwin High, and I'm in the Leicester area, the Irwin district. Last Sunday night, CBS aired a new episode of 60 Minutes, hosted by Scott Pelley, about the banning of books in Beaufort, South Carolina. Pelley admitted that of the 97 books that were part of a list provided to the school board by a concerned parent, most were, quote, young adult novels, and, quote, some depict sex and violence. He also said, quote, sexually explicit books written for older teens were found in a few lower schools. He did not say what a few is, nor what grades lower schools refers to, nor did he discuss how it is that, quote, sexually explicit books written for older teens are appropriate in any public school library. But he did conclude on his own the following, quote, most people wouldn't want them in a lower school. In the end, based on reviews conducted by parents selected by that school system, 5 books were judged too graphic in sex or violence. As now reported by a trusted mainstream journalistic outlet, there are admittedly some number of books in some number of public schools that do depict sex and violence to a degree that the books were deemed inappropriate and therefore banned. Pelley said that the initial book review was, quote, made by amateurs. But it does not require an expert in the field of education or child psychology to determine that overtly sexual material, pictures or drawings or cartoons that depict sexual acts, or written literature describing sexual encounters of any kind should be part of a public education system which understands the emotional, psychological, spiritual, and cognitive development of children through adolescence, and which respects basic social norms surrounding children and sexuality. When any school system defends books that are obviously judged not to be the kinds of books, in Pelley's words, most parents want their kids to have access to, then public trust in those who are responsible is lost, not only on this issue, but as a result on other issues also. And that lack of trust must be regained. The opportunity that lies before this school board is to regain the trust of parents by being willing to admit that by whatever mechanism, there very well may be books on the shelves that need to be removed, and to see this not as a loss, but as a win. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bella Hell.
Hi, I'm Bella Hale. I go to Nesbitt Discovery Academy. I'm a senior there. And I'm here to talk about the book bannings as well, but I'm disturbed and disheartened by recent attempts to ban books because books give us an attempt to look at the world in a different way. As I looked through the books on the attempted ban list, I saw many books that taught me about worlds I would not have otherwise known. I'm grateful to have had an expansive education from schools and books my parents provided that made me able to understand how horrendous this is. The books on the list were primarily by people of color, women, or LGBTQ people. There is a deliberate attempt to limit stories from such minorities, which is a detriment to all, but especially to minorities that are looking to see themselves within the schools. I have learned not just about others through books, but also myself. Through books like The Perks of Being a Wallflower and Turtles All the Way Down, which helped me realize that I have OCD and anxiety and other things that helped me learn more about myself. Many of the books on the banned list focus on Black Americans and their experiences. Those who wish to ban such books claim that they are too radical, but this radical material can also be called empathy. The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas remains one of my favorite books to date. It's an emotional book about oppression faced by Black Americans, in which the protagonist sees her friend shot and killed. Or Speak, which my English teacher had us read and allowed open discussion about the stigma and reality of sexual assault and violence. Some claim that such topics are inappropriate for kids to be reading. In that case, I have unfortunate news that we already know about a lot of those topics. And I don't even mean that in a funny way. We do, but the issue is how we talk about it. It's important that we have access to books that are going to teach us more about the world and do so in an empathetic and understanding way. Societies that have banned books soon after banned many other things, and it's an encroachment on our human rights. If teachers aren't allowed to teach about books like Speak that talks about sexual violence, how would someone that doesn't have anyone to talk to understand that it's not their fault and they're not alone? A lot of these books help people that are isolated or alone. If you've been a teenager, which all of y'all have, I'm sure you understand that it can be very isolated and it can be very difficult for someone. And a book can be an act of kindness that can help someone get through a difficult time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Poteet.
Good evening. My name is Kim Poteet, Inca District. First, I would like to thank you for watching out for our students and helping make our public school libraries a little more protected in the removal of the book tricks at our last school board meeting. Thank you. I would also like to address concerns that were brought up by one of the board members at our last board meeting. It was said that it is a slippery slope to start banning books, especially when it is being used for culture wars, talking points, and political moves, and said books being surfed from the internet without reading said books to determine what the concern is, basically taking away freedoms. First, we are not banning books. We are simply asking that age-inappropriate books be removed from a library designed for minors. Banning a book means it's not accessible. These books are still accessible in the public sphere. In addition, we are not asking that freedoms be taken away. We are simply asking that parental rights be respected and parents be given the freedom to choose the timing of when their children are exposed to modern, real-world social issues based on their family beliefs, not the beliefs of educators. It was also stated that parents should be very aware of what their children are reading. And you can do that in your home. You can ask your child, you can have a communication with your child, you can do that early on. And I have heard this from more than one board member. Children don't always share everything going on in their lives, no matter how well connected a parent may be with their child. In addition, some of us do not have the opportunity to establish this kind of relationship early on. Many of us take in children to foster or adopt after they have been traumatized. For these children, the lines between right and wrong are blurred. They do not know how to have honest communication. What about these parents? I represent these parents. I have fostered children and am currently raising 2 adopted children. It's not easy. We need our schools to work with us. Next, I was encouraged when I heard a board member ask the question, when a book rises to the level of being pulled by one school, why are we leaving it on the shelves at other schools? She later stated, if we are deeming a book inappropriate for one school, then it should be inappropriate for all. I totally agree. Anything else just doesn't make sense. So I would like to make you aware of 3 books the Inca High MTAC team saw as rising to the level of being pulled due to several parents and myself challenging back in November. I have given you examples of, or I'm going to give you examples of what is in these, but the titles are Doing It, Let's Talk About Sex, 19 Minutes, and Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West. I will not read excerpts from these books aloud because of the explicit material and subject matter. Parents and our community expect high standards in our public schools. These books do not meet high standards. You will find these books in the libraries.
Thank you.
Kay Olson.
Hi, I'm Kay Olson from Leicester. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to share my concerns regarding age-inappropriate material found in our Buncombe County school systems. I would like to address one of the books mentioned that was removed from only Inca High School. The book, Doing It, Let's Talk About Sex, is an informational guide to sexuality from a YouTube blogger and sex educator. The book covers a wide array of sexual topics for readers of all genders and sexual identities. This book explores sex for teens and addresses such topics as pornography, sexting, polyamory, which is the practice of engaging in multiple romantic and sexual partners at the same time, and it discusses legal consideration and sex. It explores virginity, masturbation, body image, sexual pleasure, sex shaming, rape, and porn mythbusters. According to its own book description, quote, while the book is self-indulgent at times, readers will appreciate Winton's frank and nothing is off-limits approach, end quote. Please remove this book from all of the school libraries. Its subject matter is not what our schools should be teaching our children. This book is not part of the Buncombe County sex ed curriculum, and it covers topics that are way outside the parameters. This book does not represent the high standards we expect as parents and members of the community. I'm not asking to ban it, but to take it out of the school system. It is age inappropriate and should be removed from the school libraries which are designated for minors. This request is not a political move, nor does it have anything to do with talking points. Let's work to bring our school libraries back to parent-trusted status. Let's protect our children from this adult sexually explicit material. If you agree with me that Doing It, Let's Talk About Sex should be removed from the school libraries, please stand. Thank you.
Stacy Metcalf.
Yeah, no. Thank you so much. I'll give it to the clerk of the board. Okay.
Yeah.
Have we started? We haven't started.
Start the time.
Okay, all right. My name is Stacy Metcalf, and I am from the Robertson District, and thank you for this opportunity to share. I am speaking on the importance of examining what is in our school libraries. I have brought copies of information regarding Fun Home. It's an adult graphic novel that's currently at AC Reynolds. It's at Irwin, and it is also at North Buncombe High School. This graphic novel was brought to my attention 2 weeks ago. Fun Home illustrates the need for a closer look at our school media collections. And if you would, I would like for you to turn to the back pages of this handout, and I would like for you to look at the illustrations. I shared this information with a local community leader last Thursday. His first words were, "This is porn." And yeah, it is. Unfortunately, libraries have some protections under state law. But I, as an individual, if I showed this to a minor, I could be prosecuted. Fun Home is not a book that you could show a parent and say, "I am proud that your child has the opportunity to read this book in our school library." It is not a book that you can say that this book enriches your child's education, and it is not a book that you can say builds character or that your child is a better person after reading it. Fun Home, along with some other books in our school system, do not meet the high standards that our parents expect at our schools. Now, these books may have gotten into our libraries through a bulk purchase, book fairs, or a school purchase through an individual librarian. No matter how it got into the system, please know that there are some inappropriate books on the shelves of our school libraries. And let's please work together to get rid of them quickly. School libraries should be parent-trusted spaces. Parents should trust the information being shared with their children in this space. Books such as Fun Home break that trust. And I am not about banning books, absolutely not. But I strongly advocate for age-appropriate books. School libraries are for minors. These are our precious children, and they should be protected. I'm asking tonight that we work together to make sure that our media collections reflect the high standards that our parents and our community expect. And I'm also asking that we make this process easier for our families and for our staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Bill Robinson. I'm the father of 2 daughters and the grandfather of 2 more. Jesus said, "If anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a millstone hung round their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea." That's Matthew 18:6. For the better part of the last year, I've been coming here talking about 2 girls in this school district that you're responsible for who've committed suicide. Kylie Wilhelm was 13 years old. She was a 7th grader at Owen Middle School. Sabria Bozeman was a 16-year-old 10th grader at Reynolds. There are at least 5 other girls whose pictures I don't have. I'm making it my life's work to find the pictures of those girls so I can share them with you, so you can see what's happened to some of the girls in this school districts. Mr. Jackson, our $200,000 a year superintendent of schools, used a word just now when he was opening this meeting about transparency. I've been talking about these girls since last May. There's been no transparency about what happened to them, or even that they killed themselves while they were students in this county school system. I was looked at first as like I was out of my mind or something, until I started doing some digging and finding out. There are 5 more girls who killed themselves between January 1st and May 12th of last year in your schools. A little transparency would have been nice also when it comes to a recent article. I told you last time that there were going to be some lawsuits and some publicity coming, that's the only thing you feared. Well, it happened. I had no idea what happened so quickly. But on February 1st, several weeks after I told you this, the headline in WOLS 13 News was, a lawsuit's been filed against this school district, against Buncombe County Schools. The Buncombe County Schools Board of Education is facing a lawsuit that alleges members ignored concerns from parents about a former teacher who pled guilty to abusing a 15-year-old student with a learning disability last year. The lawsuit alleges that physical touching, sexual assault of that nature, as well as the 36-year-old teacher sent graphic pornographic videos and photographs.
Thank you, sir.
Carolyn Stewart.
I'm Carolyn Stewart, and I'm from the Owen School District. I'm so thankful for the ability to be able to come and share my concerns regarding inappropriate material. It has been brought to my attention that Inca High School MTAC team has removed Wicked, the Life and Times of Wicked Witch of the West by Gregory McGuire from their library. If a book is removed from one Buncombe County school library due to inappropriateness, shouldn't it be removed from all schools in Buncombe County? This book contains sexual activities, profanity, nudity, and alcohol use. The more we expose our minor children to sexual activities and materials we provide, the more confusion and promiscuous behavior will occur. And when we, as adults, provide these materials, we are giving our approval for them to have these same behaviors. Is this really what we want to expose our students to, our minor children? This book remains in 6 other school libraries. They are in Irwin High, Community High, North Buncombe High, Robertson High, Owens High, and Reynolds High. Please remove this book, Wicked. This book is not being banned if it's removed. It's just simply not appropriate to be in the school library. And it's working to turn our school libraries back to trusted places if we remove the material that's not trusted. In our Buncombe County schools, let's work together to help parents feel their children are safe from sexually related materials when they are at school. There's another thing I wanted to encourage you to look up, and it's Tim Tebow has come out with some amazing work with children. And he emphasized recently to an oversight committee that there needed to be more precautions enacted in order to inhibit the online distribution of child sexual abuse material. That's all the more reason, because there's going to be committees. There's all the more reason to get it out of the schools quickly. So we're not a party to that. So we are asking you, school board, to do all you can do to help protect our children. Help us clean up these libraries so they can be all, the children can be all they're created to be in their lives, and protect their minds so they can be educated and grow into stable citizens of our great free country.
Thank you.
Laura Geddes.
I'm Laura Geddes from the Owen School District. And I want you to look around. What I see here at the school board are some of the most powerful people in the land. Do you realize how powerful the school boards are in directing our community? Teachers have a profound opportunity and influence on children in our culture. The way of the public schools often is the way of the community. I'm here to address tonight one situation that needs to be corrected. But because outright now, why are private schools doing better? Why are homeschoolers doing better on academic outcomes? That should not be the case. One thing that needs to be addressed first is at the head. The head is sick. And that refers to what is being taught in the departments of education in our country. No longer do we have simple equipping of teachers in pedagogy and teaching ways and styles, creativity. No. We have a political ideology being pushed within these public university education classes. I know from firsthand experience. My granddaughter, who we're helping put through the North Carolina State University at Raleigh, is going to be a middle school science and math teacher. She came to me and said, Mimi, I can't stand going to my education classes. I am so anxious, I dread it all week. I'm thinking, what's the big deal, you know? It shouldn't be that. I mean, I have no idea. She said, because in that classroom, they're only teaching DEI. And if you try to present a different idea, you're bullied, you're humiliated, and you're graded down. And she's already anxious. As most of the kids this generation, we've never had this problem with anxiety. And the suicides at the universities are evidence. So that is the first thing that needs to be addressed. We need to straighten up the education departments which are responsible for political action. That is the...
Thank you, ma'am.
Jerry Nugent.
Good evening. I am a grandmother of a student at Oakley Elementary, kindergarten
Can you
student.
repeat your name, please?
Jerry Nugent. I thought he said it. Sorry, I did not say it. I am also a retired school counselor of about 20 plus years. For author Ellen Hopkins, the author of the recently banned book Tricks, the idea for Tricks came from reading that the average age of a teen female prostitute in the United States is 12. After discovering this statistic, Hopkins wanted to write a story illustrating how teens engage in prostitution for different reasons. These are her words. My young adult novels have sexual situations, including assault and abuse, as well as young love. I write where my readers live, and teens experience those things every day. I write truthfully because I respect their intellect, curiosity, and sophistication. My goals always have been to bring broader perspective to their relatively narrow view, to show possible outcomes to choices they'll likely face and help them make more informed decisions. And for those who've already taken wrong turns or had all choice stolen from them, to bring hope and to give them a voice. As for protecting our kids, I often say ignorance is no armor. Knowledge is their absolute best weapon, and books are among the safest space to gather information. When asked if books like mine should be readily available for teens, Travis Akers, who is running for school board in Duval County, Florida, commented that if we expect teens to drive safely, show up for work, and even have children, they are certainly capable of choosing what books to read. Mr. Aiken's reason for running for school board was this. He said, while I was deployed in the Middle East, I was watching from afar as public education, teachers, and our children came under attack. I knew when I came home, I had to do something. Laurie Anderson, she's the author of Speak and Shout, says banning books like hers could prevent students in traumatic situations from seeking help. She wrote the book Speak, a fictional story about a 13-year-old girl struggling to speak about being raped because the author was raped at that age. Thousands of readers have told her that books like Speak have helped them talk about their experiences and find needed support. She tells us, when confronted with challenging topics like sexual violence, some people prefer to stick their heads in the sand. That makes children vulnerable to predators. Families deserve robust, well-curated libraries in their communities, in their schools, and in their classrooms. Families...
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Talia Wilson, and I'm a senior at Nesbitt Discovery Academy. I would like to start off by restating...
Talia, can you speak closer to the microphone, please?
Yes.
I can't hear well.
I would like to start off by restating the importance of needed change towards environmental sustainability and student safety through efforts like promoting pathways to green jobs, climate disaster plans, climate curriculum, free and healthy lunches, and safe and clean buildings as outlined by the Green New Deal for Schools movement. I want to thank Mr. Elliott for an informative and productive work meeting in February. Secondly, I would like to speak out against the recent motion to ban books within our school districts. Books are windows into our identities, other identities, and how we interact with our society. They encourage empathy between people and warn against issues. You feel that banning a book with a topic you don't like will protect your children from these things happening to them. Yes, these books discuss topics like violence, rape, and drugs, but these topics are brought up for a reason. Many students have experiences with these topics, experience that can be haunting. Reading about these issues in books can be validating and open greater discussion and healing. Furthermore, a student who does not have a personal experience with some of these topics is able to sympathize and put themselves in someone else's shoes. This doesn't necessarily have to be negative topics either. Overall, learning about people with experiences and perspectives different than your own opens up your mind to greater possibilities and encourages critical thinking. Through books, you learn about yourself and your own values and open discussions about other identities and cultures as well. Books also warn through imagining against potential large issues within our society. Yes, aspects of our society or past are violent or uncomfortable. That's why we need to talk about them. We need to understand these aspects of our past so we don't go back to them. By getting people to empathize with a character's pain and suffering, we are helping them to better understand why they should never cause that pain to someone else. I would like to end my comment with an excerpt from my final project in English from last semester. I read and wrote an essay on Beloved by Toni Morrison, which is a slave narrative and also one of the most banned books in the United States. It is criticized for its violence, and I'm not one to say it isn't. But it's important, if not imperative, that it displays this violence. Quote, by bringing attention to the issue of slavery through explicit depictions of the violence and the impacts of an individual and slavery causes, providing Black Americans a voice which they can define themselves through a storytelling type structure, and promoting facing the past even when it's difficult, Morrison pushes and compels readers to face the awful issue of institutionalized racism. This comes at a time when American racism is on the rise, enabled by the denial of violence in the past and bans on depictions of groups that are not favorable. Morrison demonstrates that by analyzing and acknowledging one's past, one can claim and learn about oneself and one's perspective, freeing one's future. Minimizing and denying one's history, even when it's painful and regrettable, leads to no solid future, but the acknowledgement of past injuries creates a more helpful and inclusive tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul Curran.
Good evening. My name is Paul Curran, and I'm a senior at Nesbitt Discovery Academy. Recently, there's been a nationwide push to ban a variety of controversial tales, such as The Handmaid's Tale, Beloved, and Speak. Some of these books have made it to the Buncombe County School Board to be reviewed. People will argue that book banning protects children from dangerous concepts. They don't want to see their kids see challenging content such as sexual themes, violence, discrimination, and drug use. But is this not the point of these books? To challenge difficult topics, to expose people to the very real dangers present in our society. As an avid writer myself, I understand that books serve as a medium to portray a crucial message and safely critique society's issues. The world is a dangerous place, and sheltering students from that only serves to keep them uninformed of the problems of today. On February 1st at 11:42 p.m., I got a text from one of my track teammates who goes to TC Robertson, telling people to not go to school the next day. A student who had been dealing fentanyl was arrested that Monday and had been posted to his Instagram story that when he was released, he would shoot up the school. He was then released on bail 3 days later. While the situation was eventually controlled, many people did not show up to TC that day out of fear for their lives. Only 1 week later, a TC Robertson student was shot and left in critical condition. I didn't know him personally, but I know many people who did, and they were devastated. Teenagers actively experience all the topics you want to protect them from on a daily basis. What is considered inappropriate for some is the daily life of others. Concealing the heavy subjects of the real world does not serve to protect people from them. It only makes them less prepared when true danger does strike. So, instead, why don't we focus on rectifying the issues at hand? Darkness flourishes in the absence of illumination, and books only put a spotlight on society's issues. The only way to destroy them is to attack them at the root. Put effort into securing students' safety, supporting their mental health, educating students on the world's darkness, and preventing them from going down that path. Only then will these problems go away. So, leave the stocking of the libraries to the librarians. They've been trained to know what's best for public use. Parents, I implore you to talk about the books your students are reading. What they're learning often reflects perspectives you might not have considered. And school board, I urge you to use extreme caution when restricting access to books, as knowledge is very powerful and dangerous when limited. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Liza Porras.
Hello, school board members and company. I'm Liza Porras, and I'm a senior at Nesbitt Discovery Academy. Usually I talk about the Green New Deal for Schools movement, which is a movement that aims to push American schools to a higher standard of environmental sustainability and climate change readiness. However, today I feel like my time would be better spent talking about something else. I still care about climate change a lot, but book banning is an alarming threat facing our schools, and it's one that I think needs to be addressed by the students themselves. I'm a student in the school system who has actually read some of the books people are calling disgusting and immoral, and I have some thoughts. Reading these books that parents are so scared of hasn't traumatized me as some people have claimed that it would. It hasn't made me commit the misdeeds seen in these books, and it hasn't made me a worse person. Quite the opposite. Reading these books was indeed difficult at times, and it isn't always comfortable to read about violence and discrimination. Nevertheless, I think that knowledge and perspective that these books have given me is more important than my personal comfort. It has sparked important dialogue among me and my friends about our place in society and how we can become better people. We have talked about why some of the actions seen in these books are so hard to read about, and what our discomfort says about us and society. These conversations aren't always the most fun to have, but that's why these books were published. These books provide important information about different experiences to reduce prejudices people have and to create a better society. That often feels uncomfortable because we like to believe that we have no faults and that societal problems are a thing of the past, which is unrealistic but easier to digest. But while it isn't easy, getting past that awkward stage will ultimately minimize this discomfort in the future. So, In conclusion, don't be scared of these books. They can't hurt you or your children. What can hurt the youth of Buncombe County Schools, as well as the future of our nation, is ignorance. Trying to perfectly maintain the environment that your children are learning and growing in ultimately does nothing to prepare them for the real world. Giving children access to the full spectrum of learning materials available is an exercise in career readiness. For example, if a person has a queer coworker or a coworker of color, they can't just ask their boss to fire them. However, allowing books about these people to be banned across the entire county is essentially saying that that behavior is okay. Banning books about topics like race, sexual assault, and queerness will not make these topics go away. They will just make them more stigmatized. You cannot get rid of something just because you don't like it and it makes you uncomfortable. Ignorance will only lead to more hate, pain, and violence. And if you choose to ban books countywide, that ignorance will win. Thank you.
Thank you.
Melanie Grant.
Good evening. I'm Melanie Grant. I'm a senior at Nesbitt Discovery Academy, and I help this year in the calendar committee, and I'm on the student board advisory thing. And like everyone else, I'm here to talk about some books. So I read a lot of books over the years, and I've liked and disliked many. I've hated and loved plenty too, but out of the hundreds of books I've read, there are probably less than 10 that honestly hit me so hard that I would go as far as to say that they've changed me. And one of those books is The Handmaid's Tale. Margaret Atwood's novel is a dystopian narrative provoking, I concur, controversial arguments by approaching issues on sex, religion, reproductive rights, feminism, and oppression. Due to the challenging nature of this novel, I understand that some guidelines must be in place regarding its accessibility. However, I argue that by banning this book, you not only are limiting students' exposure to diverse perspectives, but you're also hindering critical thinking. It may be challenging to read, but its difficulty is precisely what makes it essential and impactful. The challenges embedded within its pages are not deterrents, rather they serve as tools for students to confront uncomfortable truths. By censoring The Handmaid's Tale, we risk stifling important discussions that contribute to a well-rounded education for all students. The Handmaid's Tale is not just another story. It's a frighteningly powerful narrative that has changed the way I live my life. The banning of any book is not only restricts students from exploring topics in a safe environment, but also belittles teachers by limiting their ability to foster meaningful discourse. While my primary focus today is discussing The Handmaid's Tale, it is crucial to acknowledge that several books facing the possibility of a ban have in various ways profoundly impacted the lives of students. We must recognize the transformative power of literature, as I personally have been affected and moved by not only this book, but others that I've had access to in school. Instead of banning books and restricting students' access to controversial topics, we should embrace the discomfort that we feel from reading them and use it as an opportunity for growth, understanding, and allow it to lead us to a more profound appreciation of the world we live in today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Finn Hartman, and I'm a senior here at Nesbitt Discovery Academy. I'm reading this on behalf of a peer in order to protect their identity and story. Growing up, I struggled with several aspects of my life: gender, sexuality, and my place in the American world as a Mexican-American student. I found comfort in the books I read. It gave me the chance to see the world and live in someone else's shoes. Since I saw the experiences of others, I was able to connect to it in my own experiences and struggles. In particular, the book Speak helped me come to terms that I had been sexually assaulted in the past. Should not feel shame from the pain that I suffered. It helped me to reach out and seek help. Books like Speak helped me realize parts of myself that desperately needed to be seen. I found writers whom connected with my Mexican heritage. I found comfort within the LGBT plus literature, and above all, I've learned aspects of history that I'd never learned. Learning violence does not inspire violence, it creates empathy within our society. Privilege should not be an excuse to turn your eyes away from reality. You have no right to whitewash my life and history, and if you feel that your high school children are too innocent to read stories, you do not know your children at all. I can say with confidence that many children are already aware of the world around them. The books you fear do not change your children, but give them the empathy and understanding for others. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Liam Murray. I'm a senior at Nesbitt Discovery Academy, which is the building that we're in right now. So, hi. I do want to begin this by thanking the board of Buncombe County Schools. I love this district, and we have amazing schools here. So thank you for allowing us to have an amazing education. Also, thank you, teachers. Thank you, everyone who's here that is trying to improve the school today, because I feel it and I really appreciate it. I'm here today to talk about the book bannings, and I believe the reasons for and against the book bannings have already been discussed at length tonight. I would like to provide some objective observations I have seen about the presence of these books in the schools and how students actually react to them. So, yes, I have three specific points I would like to share. Number one, contrary to speculation expressed earlier tonight, the content of these books emotionally strengthens my fellow students. In the case of Speak, which we read in our English 1 course as part of the curriculum, all the serious moments were met with intellectual discussion that facilitated whole class discussion, something that otherwise does not occur quite as much. We were never told what to think about this novel by the teachers, and any claims of indoctrination I have not observed. Number two, I personally have never met a student advocating for the removal of these books. So far as I know, all of my peers believe removing books, such as Speak, hinders our academic environment to a severe degree. We are all very concerned about the removal of these books, all of us. Number three, my school, Nesbitt Discovery Academy, is special because of its focus on critical thinking. The ability to ask questions about the content of novels enriches classrooms, and prohibiting such discussion by removing books counteracts the very ideal that education is an active instead of a passive endeavor. There's a quote from Hank Green that says, "The most impactful thing you can do with power is almost always to give it away." And there are less than 70 people in this room right now, and there are more than 20,000 students in Buncombe County schools. The CBS News story discussed at the very beginning of this comment section advocated for a kind of forum where instead of one person getting to decide what books are in the school, there's a public investigation that anybody can volunteer and contribute to. I would encourage you, if you do not wish to ban these books outright, but still have reservations with them, to at least turn it over to the citizens of Buncombe County beyond just 70 people. We need a lot of people on this in order to get to a conclusion that will satisfy everybody. I encourage you to not ban these books tonight or remove them, because it seriously concerns me and my fellow students. Thank you for your time.
Is it Aria Williams?
My name is Aria Williams. I am here as a former Nesbitt Discovery Academy student and current death doula to discuss long COVID in children, grief, and the return to normal. Before my first COVID infection at 17, I worked 2 jobs full-time, was a heavy weightlifter, and ran multiple school clubs. After my 3rd infection at 19, I had to quit my job where I worked 3 hours a week because it had become too physically demanding. I still have not returned to the workforce. At 20, I spent a week bedbound because I had carried a bag of dog food across a store in an attempt to see if I was really as ill as I was, or if it was just in my head. It obviously was not. I could fill my minutes here detailing my own long COVID experience, but that is not my goal. I'm here to draw your attention to a silent, ongoing crisis. Long COVID is to COVID as HIV, as AIDS is to HIV. 20% of people develop long COVID after their first infection, and the odds just increase with every reinfection. Our children are not exempt from this. Last year, the CDC reported an estimated 96% of Americans had had at least one COVID infection already. We can extrapolate and conclude that 1 in 5 students and staff are suffering from some form of long COVID. Does this board have a plan for supporting at least 20% of its student body with their new disabilities, especially when some of the most prevalent symptoms of pediatric long COVID include fatigue, sleep disorders, headache, cognitive impairment,
and concentration or focus difficulties, all of which will greatly hinder their students' abilities to perform academically. The push to return to normal is not the answer to neurological damage masquerading as learning loss. The push to return to normal will come at the cost of a generation becoming chronically ill and disabled before the time they can graduate. COVID could disappear tomorrow, and we will still be dealing with the fallout for the rest of our lives. Choosing normal over precautions and adaptability has led to countless acute infections and long-term disablement, all of which was preventable. Choosing normal has also prevented us from slowing down and grieving all of those who we have lost during this ongoing pandemic. With over 1 million confirmed COVID deaths, and all of those who remain uncounted because of the long-term damage that COVID caused that led to their deaths. We should be honoring their memories and changing our world to stop this still preventable death and disablement. We don't have to live like this. And simply put, our society and our children will not survive if we keep choosing normal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Valley.
I'm here as a former student of Nesbitt Discovery Academy, sibling of a current student, and an honorary uncle of a current student in the Buncombe County Schools. As the Buncombe County School Board, you have the power to invoke policy. I'm sorry, I'm short. I'm here as a former student of Nesbitt Discovery Academy, sibling of a current student, and honorary uncle of a current student in Buncombe County Schools. As the Buncombe County School Board, you have the power to invoke policy change to protect the children in the community. We know this is a fact because free school lunch has remained as COVID protection policies have been stripped away. With this power, I plead that you keep the 5-day COVID quarantine even though the CDC has dropped the quarantine period, as it is changed with no basis in scientific fact and was changed purely for political and monetary reasons. I also urge you to bring back absence forgiveness and attendance leniency. I've had to watch my little brother go to school sick. I've had to watch my friends' kids go to school sick. These children were forced to go to school while ill purely because they used all of their arbitrarily decided number of absences. And I've had to go to work sick. And I've had to watch my friends and coworkers go to work sick. These problems are not unrelated. As was stated at the beginning of the meeting, schools connect our community the most. As illness moves through the schools, it moves through the workplaces as well and is able to constantly cycle in this way. Allowing students to stay home while sick is even more important now because widespread COVID tracking stopped in May of 2023, almost a year ago. Parents cannot make educated decisions for their own and their children's health and safety. While you do not have the power to reinstate widespread tracking, you can bring back testing, case monitoring, and contact tracing within the schools. You also have the power to support parents in these decisions with attendance leniency. Right now, parents do not have the support to make those decisions without the child facing the consequences. I strongly urge you to do what is in your power to protect the youngest and most vulnerable in our community.
Thank you.
Mitchell Cohen.
Hello, my name is Mitchell Cohen, and I am a junior at Nesbitt Discovery Academy. And I'm here to talk about the book bannings. So with the full permission and consent of my parents, I have been reading books that have been banned in many areas and have been considered to be banned in many areas. I've been doing this since about 4th grade. And I can personally say that of the books in school libraries, there is no overly graphic content, there is no pornographic material, and all of the material has helped me to learn and to grow and to cope with these issues. Many of these books have already been discussed, so I won't get into that, but please know that all these books do is they seek to educate us, especially when we can have teachers teaching them. The most useful part of Speak was the discussions we had where our teacher could weigh in and help us with the difficult parts of that book. We were able to learn about the realities of rape and suffering from sexual assault because we had someone there to guide us. Even if books are not banned, they are just removed from school libraries, that means that teachers cannot teach them, and those helps cannot be given from those teachers' power. By removing and banning books, all you are doing is diminishing the power of teachers to help the students, diminishing the ability of parents to choose what their students are learning, and the education of students. You are here to educate us. You are not here to shelter us. And to further address the claims that just removing books from school libraries is not banning them, this is blatantly untrue, because removing a book from a school library means that countless students will not be able to read that book. Many students do not have access to free libraries, and many more students cannot afford to buy those books. And plenty of students will not be able to find these books and resources because their parents will not let them. All these books do is they educate us. That is what they do, that is what they're there for. They teach us about sex, they teach us about violence, they teach us about coping with grief. You cannot make those things go away, and by banning books, all you're doing is stifling our education about them. You cannot make these things go away, but you can help to educate us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, that concludes public comment.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Thank you. We're now moving to the action portion of our agenda. The first item on this agenda is the resolution to approve the PRC 056 supplemental funds compensation for bus drivers. Ms. Thorpe, are you in the bill? You don't have to go anywhere. I was just making sure you were here. Questions from board members on this item?
Madam Chair, of course, I have a question. This sounds really great, but I would like to hear a little bit more about, wait a minute, this may not be the right one. Oh, yes, it is. It's actually a question for Mr. Stowe. Sorry. First of all, buses are so important in how we transport children to their homes. In the Irwin district, we have more buses than any other district. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Had the privilege of riding some of those buses, and there's some long bus rides. School safety is a huge priority for me. Can you tell me a little bit about what this supplemental funds will be used for?
So I'm going to defer also to Ms. Thorpe to help me with this, but there was some budget set-asides at the beginning of the year from General Assembly, if you want to help, and her team worked diligently on how to distribute those funds equally and equitably to all the bus drivers that drive the bus on a regular day.
Okay.
Is that the best way to put it?
It will be distributed that way. The resolution.
Start speaking again, please.
Yes, I'm sorry. So the resolution is the law was written that the school boards have to determine the way that it will be distributed, and this resolution does so that in there it explicitly states that it must be divided equally and equitably among all bus drivers. So we are going to do that on the May check at the last of the month. And we will. They have to be employed as of May 1st as an active bus driver, and then we will look at the percentage of how much they drive a bus for the year, and that will be prorated based on the percentage of the time driven.
That is a wonderful plan for our bus drivers who take care of our children.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the explanation.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that work that you're doing.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from board members? I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Next item on the action agenda is West Buncombe Elementary School accept a guaranteed maximum price GMP and authorize construction manager at risk. Questions for Mr. Wyatt on this item? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I will gladly make that motion.
Thank you. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? North Buncombe Elementary School accept guaranteed maximum price GMP and authorize construction manager at risk. This is also Mr. Wyatt. Any questions from board members on this item? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve, and I'd make that motion. Could I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Next item, T.C. Robertson High School accept guaranteed maximum price GMP and authorize construction manager at risk CMAR to proceed. Questions for Mr. White on this item? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I would happily approve that, and I would also like to say that this has been a long time coming, so I'm super excited that we're now seeing it.
Thank you. Second? Second. Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving right along. District Media and Technology Advisory Committee, MTAC recommendations. Ms. Reed, are there questions from the board on this item or comments? Hearing.
Yeah, I have one question, just for the benefit of the public. Can you just clarify for us the process? You know, we have a policy that addresses how book objections work, and it's a lot of things I hear in public concern, public comment, are addressed in policies already, and a lot of the practices that we have. And could you just explain sort of like how it works with the MTAC committees and school level, district level, and what happens when it comes to us?
Sure, so I'll be happy to do that. So policy 3210 is the board policy that guides the procedures around parental inspection or objection to instructional materials. So initially, the parental objection begins at the school level, and the school level Media Technology Advisory Committee is the group that will take that recommendation and consider that recommendation. That particular group is made up of school staff and parents. Typically, the media coordinator is the one who leads and facilitates the work of that group. So that group can go ahead and make decisions at the school level about whether to keep books on the shelf or to remove books from the shelf or any supplemental material used in the school. The results to those decisions from the school level are then sent to the parent who sent the initial objection, and that parent then has 10 days to appeal the school's decision. If the parent then appeals the school's decision, that appeal goes to the District Media Technology Advisory Committee, which is also made up of school staff from all of our 45 schools, some district level staff and parents. And that committee entertains that objection in very much the same manner that the school committee entertained the initial objection. So the Media Technology Advisory Committee has around 15 days to entertain that response and make a decision, and that particular decision of Media Technology Advisory Committee is then automatically sent to the board for consideration, which is what we're doing this evening.
Okay. So just a quick question. If a parent raises an objection on a particular book, is that objection made public in any way? Like, do other parents in the school know that that objection has been made and that it's going before review before the school MTAC?
There's no requirement per board policy to advertise that.
Right. But let's just say, some parents did hear about the objection, and they said, and the book was voted to be removed for the school or whatever. But the other group of parents said no. Could those group of parents appeal the decision of the school MTAC committee?
There's nothing that I'm aware of in current policy that would keep a different person from going through that same policy process with 3210.
To appeal, like what they just decided to remove, another group of parents could appeal that to like keep the book?
I wouldn't say there is necessarily an appeal, but they could reinstate the process again. A separate set of parents. Is that right, Mr. Shatley?
So the policy doesn't have a mechanism for another parent to appeal. And I also think the policy states once the book has been reviewed, it can't be reviewed again for 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. To ensure that if a parent makes an objection and the committee says we're going to keep the book, then the parent just doesn't turn around and make another objection and another objection. So it does have a time period in there in which the book cannot be challenged at that particular school. But there is not a mechanism in 3210, I believe, that would allow a different parent to appeal the MTAC committee's decision if they didn't like that decision. Just the parent that brought the original objection.
Got it. Okay.
But I think your point's well taken. If a parent who brings the objection gets the relief that they are seeking from the MTAC committee, there really is no mechanism to appeal it to the district MTAC level committee.
Yeah. I'm no lawyer, but, innocent until proven, is there somebody advocating for or against the book on both sides of that, or does it matter? Anyway, I'm good, thank you.
Okay,
I just want to say thank you to everybody that serves on these MTAC committees. We have 45 schools, 45 MTAC committees, plus a district MTAC committee. I don't think we're over 1,000 people, but hundreds of people volunteering their time in our community, to respectfully handle these requests, respectfully listen to all sides, respectfully listen to the educators and the experts in the room, and, come to reasonable conclusions. So that's not easy. And it doesn't all just fall on us. It is a big committee and community decision already. So I just wanted to point that out. So thanks for describing it.
Thank you.
Clearly studied the policy really well a few times.
Thank you. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve this recommendation.
So moved.
Thank you. Second? Any discussion at this juncture? Thank you. Then, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The next item is the resolution to approve electoral districts. And I didn't ask anybody to read it. You want to read it?
Either way.
Okay. Since you have a copy.
To read it?
He's got it.
Okay.
Is that okay? Now that we've had a little discussion up here, our superintendent's going to read the resolution for public knowledge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Buncombe County Board of Education, March 7th, 2024. Resolution adopting new election district boundaries. Whereas the Buncombe County Board of Education historically included 6 members elected from 6 residency districts plus 1 member at large, and whereas in June 2023, the North Carolina General Assembly ratified House Bill 66, which required the Buncombe County Schools to create 6 electoral districts and 1 at-large seat in accordance with 9 mandatory criteria by February 1st, 2024. And whereas, following the passage of House Bill 66, the North Carolina General Assembly passed House Bill 142, which postponed the deadline set for redistricting to June 30th, 2024. And whereas House Bill 142 also removed the 9 criteria contained in House Bill 66 and instead required that redistricting only needed to comply with all the requirements of state and federal law. And whereas the 6 electoral districts required by House Bill 142 must comply with the constitutional requirement of 1 person, 1 vote. Whereas the redistricting process was substantially complicated by split census blocks along the border between the Buncombe County Schools and Asheville City Schools. Whereas on November 2nd and December 7th, 2023, and January 11th, 2024, the Board of Education, meeting in public session, reviewed and considered plans for redistricting. And whereas on February 15th, 2024, the Board of Education held a public hearing to receive comments on 3 redistricting plans. Whereas option C, considered by the Board of Education and presented to the public, would satisfy the requirements of 1 person, 1 vote, even accounting for the split census blocks. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the Buncombe County Board of Education as follows. Number 1, the boundaries of the 6 districts for election of the Buncombe County Board of Education are altered to follow the lines depicted on the attached map, Attachment 1, entitled Buncombe County School Board Option C. Number 2, the attached map has been prepared using United States Census Bureau geographic data, and the district boundaries have been drawn to follow census block lines to the extent possible. A list of the voting precincts and census blocks in each district is attached for reference, Attachment 2, and to resolve any issue that might arise concerning the boundaries of the districts. Number 3, a population data table showing the minimum and maximum population for the 6 districts is attached for reference, Attachment 3. Number 4, the new district boundaries shall be used for the next election of board members and for each subsequent election until the boundaries are altered according to law. Number 5, a copy of this resolution and the map showing the district boundaries shall be retained in the office of the superintendent. Number 6, maps and information about the new district boundaries shall be provided to the Buncombe County Board of Elections with the request that the board notify residents of the Buncombe County Schools Administrative School Unit of changes in the districts in which they vote. Adopted this day of March 2024, signed Ann B. Franklin, Chair, Buncombe County Board of Education.
Thank you, sir. Any comments or questions in this regard?
Madam.
Go ahead.
I just had a question for our attorney. So this law, and I don't think it, it's not complicated. It's not contemplated in our resolution, but this law mandates the school consolidation study, correct?
Correct.
And so hypothetically, hypothetically, if school consolidation does occur, that would require a subsequent redistricting, correct?
We believe so, because what is now the Asheville City Schools would not, if that was just if there was a consolidation, the addition of that district would not be within the one person, one vote minimum and maximum population that are other districts, that if you vote for this, the other districts will be. And so it would require redrawing of the lines in order to figure that out. Now, part of consolidation, if again, hypothetically that occurs, would be the governance structure of the new consolidated school system. So first of all, I mean, we're just kind of making an assumption that it would be, 7 or 8 board members. It could be much larger or even potentially smaller. And so that consolidated board would have to be first determined, and then we would have to redraw the lines based on what that board looked like.
And that, I'm just thinking timeline. So these new districts that we are forced to draw against our recommendation not to do it, because it's not in the community's primary interest. These will be in effect for this coming general election in November.
Correct.
All right. So they will be sent to the Board of Elections, officially put into place as districts, electoral districts, by June, whatever. Right. There's a date in the law.
Yep.
And then, so the school consolidation study contemplates that the study results have to be reviewed, like when, next February of 2025?
Yes, in early spring, late winter, spring of 2025, if I remember off the top of my head, if that was correct.
February 2025, yes, sir.
But a final recommendation has to be made also on a timeline, correct?
The final recommendation is due to the General Assembly in February of 2025.
That's the final recommendation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So potentially we're going to have new districts for this coming election. And then potentially we could have new districts for the next election of 2026. Or sorry.
It would be 2026.
2026.
Every other year.
Yeah, okay.
But
All right.
potentially.
Potentially, yep. I just wanted to think through it.
All right, Ms. Clemens?
Yes, thank you. And I really just want to make this statement public because I think it's important. When I ran for the school board, I did not do this just on a whim. Running for the school board means that you make decisions for 22+ thousand children, 5,000 employees, and 45 schools. I take this very, very serious. I represent the Irwin District, and as you know, anybody that knows me knows I'm very passionate about that. But as Madam Chair reminds me all the time, you got 45 schools, and I recognize that. I did not run for my grandchildren who are in school. I ran for the children who don't have a voice. I was at Irwin High School the other day, and a young man was in the office, and I think it's important for people to understand what goes on in the schools. I had the opportunity and it was an opportunity to sub for 4 years. I am no expert, but unless you sit inside a classroom, people do not understand what's going on in our schools. The child I was observed the other day came to the principal for a belt because he had lost so much weight. He's depressed, and guess what? He was evicted the night before. Evicted from he and his mother, didn't know where they were going to sleep that night. These are the kind of things that we're dealing with. They're sad. They make me emotional. And I pray for those kids every single day. But now, because we're forced to do this redistricting, instead of the Irwin people, and particularly Woodfin and half of the Lester Elementary parents, will have a new representative. And so when they call and they say, Kim, because I've lived here all my life, I've lived in Irwin 46 years, people call me, teachers talk to me, students talk to me. And so when they call and I have to say, oh, I'm sorry, you know, you'll need to contact Anne Franklin. I love Anne, and I know she'll take good care of my people, and I do love these people. I love these kids. At Woodfin, it's the same thing. I'm trying to help get internet for kids that can't afford internet. Those are the kind of things people don't even look at, that school board members do. When I look at the place who's going to have the greatest impact is Reynolds. And I said it last month, and I'm going to say it again today. I have family there. I have tons of friends. If you live on the left-hand side of 74, you're going to now be represented by someone that's in the majority of it is the old Owen district. So I want to make sure people are clear that it's one person, one vote. We had a small, and when I say small, a small number of people who were upset about the 2022 election that decided they felt like they could win if they were only in their district. Well, guess what? It's not going to be only in your district. It's going to be new districts. It's no longer Irwin or Reynolds. It's District 1 through 6. And I hope, and I believe wholeheartedly, that when parents really get to know the impact of this and how ridiculous it is, they'll remember that in November. They will remember that. This bill was, within 2 days, it was added to the bill by a senator that probably doesn't even represent a fifth of Buncombe County, maybe. And so we add it to the bill, and it gets, I say, swept under the rug, even though they wouldn't pay attention to, this person wouldn't pay attention to the impact. It's not your district. It's one vote. You're going to have to vote in the district, not just the district you live in, but a district to make it equal representation in 6 districts. I am very much against this. I think that our community is against this. We had a lot of comments about that. I want to put it on record that this is probably the most ridiculous thing that we have had to deal with since I've been on this board. We should be focusing on kids and our schools, not this kind of partisan politics. We are in the business for children. I'm sorry, I'm very passionate about this.
I can tell.
I am very, very passionate. If anyone wants to talk to me one-on-one, my phone number's posted. I haven't heard anyone, no one has called me in support of this, but I've had a lot of calls against it.
Thank you, Ms. Clemens.
Madam Chair, if I could say something as well. I want to really echo what Ms. Clemens said. I think in my time on the board, every vote that I've been a part of, I've at least felt somewhat good about. And the unfortunate truth about this is that we're about to vote for or against a resolution that none of us think is right. But ultimately, we're put in a position where we have to follow the law. From the beginning, I've said that I just really feel like this is taking away the identity of so many districts. I said it last meeting as well. We all know Kim Plemons. She bleeds red. I guess we all bleed red, but Rob Elliott over here actually has green in his veins, and he bleeds green. And it's unfortunate that's just going to be lost. And that's not to say we don't support all 45 schools, because we all do.
We do.
And if people that are over the line still call Kim, I'm sure she's still going to want to help. But the point is that the identity of us representing a physical place that you can look at and see, rather than this weird boundary line that is just really arbitrary, I think that's what really makes me the saddest. I think we're making this vote today because it's what we have to do. I just want it to be on the record that, you know, I'm going to be voting today for the best of 3 bad choices, but the fact of the matter is, with the way the law is written, there's no way there could be a good choice. And I think it's unfortunate that we're in the situation that we're in. You know, I wish that the Hail Mary pass would get caught and Raleigh would wake up and realize that they really messed this up and go back and change it, even though we're this far into the process. But I realize how very unlikely that is. So I appreciate your passion, Ms. Clemens, and I think that I can't speak for everyone, but my guess is that that is echoed amongst all of us. And I just want it out there that while I am going to vote to approve this, I don't feel good about it.
Thank you. Any other comments? I believe we all have reservations. Are you going to comment?
Well, since you gave me the opportunity, I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. I would like to congratulate everybody that worked hard to get this to where it is now, and to also say that for the individuals that had pushed this, and I believe several of them are sitting in this room now, just be careful what you wish for. You might get what you thought you wanted. Dig a little deeper, and I think you'll be a little surprised.
Okay, thank you. I believe that's it. So can I get a motion to approve this item?
I'll approve it.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Could I just speak for, because typically, are you calling for discussion after a second?
I can.
Well, I'm going to typically,
I thought we'd
just wanted
discussed.
to, I unfortunately will speak for the motion. You know, we've already expressed that we don't like this thing. But I'm speaking for the motion because option C, option A, B, and C, they all move up to, well, 27% of the families in the Reynolds district across every single option, A, B, or C, 27% of them will be moved into a new district. So it'll be District 2 or District 4. The current Reynolds district will be District 3. I love Dale Earnhardt. Bless him. And I'm glad at least we get to be number 3, I guess. But my point is, 27% of the families, and I'm voting for option C. I'm speaking for the motion for option C because that is the option that impacts the least number of families in my district and also keeps our school communities as whole as possible. So Bell stays intact, goes to District 2. Hall Creek stays intact. Oakley stays intact. You know, the Charlotte community gets to stay intact as well. And unfortunately, it's the Fairview community that gets split in half along a historically political boundary that is drawn for state houses and stuff. So that's my logic for voting for it. I just wanted to speak on behalf of it. So thank you for that time.
Thank you. So with reservation, could we approve this recommendation? Resolution?
Yes.
With reservation. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, may I make a comment before?
Yes.
Thank you. I just simply wanted to re-echo, it's been said several times, but I want to make sure we're really clear. This resolution, this work to redraw our board electoral districts does not reassign any students to any other schools. This does not move students from one school to another, and so we want to make sure, and we'll continue to do so, that we send that word out to our families. We are not redistricting students to different schools. This is about board electoral districts only, and so thank you for the opportunity to reiterate that, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I appreciate that clarity. On the consent agenda, we have the minutes for February 8, 2024, the minutes for February 15, the special called public hearing, the personnel report, 2023 and 2024 budget amendment number 3, 2023-2024 summer program plan, the request to increase Edulog sole source purchase federal PRC 140 school bus safety pilot program, approval of the board member training credits. policies for second reading. Policy 1310, 4002, parental involvement. Policy 4240, 7312, child abuse and related threats to child safety. Policy 4342, student searches. Policy 4720, surveys of students. Policy 5210, distribution and display of non-school material. Policy 6401, ethics and the purchasing function. Policy 6430, state purchasing requirements for equipment, materials, and supplies. Policy 7100, recruitment and selection of personnel. Policy 7130, licensure. Policy 7310, 4040, staff-student relations. Policy 7510, leave. And Policy 9125, participation by women and minority-owned businesses. Could I get a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Madam Chair, I do have a question. I want to go back to the
No,
bus.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Oh, do you have a question?
I do. I do have a question. I just want, and I apologize to Mr. Stowe because this was the question I wanted to ask him earlier, but it was further down in the agenda. If he could just share quickly what exactly are we doing to enhance school safety with this bus safety program?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Clemens. Edulog is our vendor that is providing us our time and attendance, our parent app for the location and arrival and delivery of every one of our students each day. We're working to provide an enhanced technology experience for our families and our drivers, where drivers will have real-time iPad access to the route to where they're going each day, and the parents will get push notifications through the Edulog app for when the bus will arrive, when the bus is running late, or any kind of pertinent information that they need as we have it and as fast as we can push it out.
That is great. For parents that have concerns around school safety, this is just an additional thing that we're doing with our transportation, the kids transported by buses. So, and I've rode buses, again, I love doing that. But just to make sure we're clear, so parents can actually, will be able to.
We have the app, yes ma'am. We have the app rolled out right now in about 9 schools. We're looking to roll the app out in 3 more schools now. We learned quickly that it's almost a onesie-twosie type rollout where we need to make sure that our data is 100% on point for each one of the schools, so that when we roll it out to that school and that community, that we have correct and exact information for each one of the students.
That's wonderful. So parents can take a look at it, just
coming.
like they do on their phone.
It's coming and coming quickly.
That's great. That is wonderful. So thank you for what you and the transportation
Thank you, ma'am.
team has done to keep our kids safe.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clemens. Okay, all those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? In the information agenda, we have the financial reports, policy for first reading, policy 3210, parental inspection of and objection to instructional materials, policy 3610, the counseling program. Our announcements for future meeting, Buncombe County School spring break will be April 1st through April 5th. Our next board meeting will be April 11th with work session beginning at 4 and open session at 5:30. I would entertain a motion to adjourn at this time.
So moved.
Could I get a second? Anybody want to discuss that one? All those in favor? All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Thank you.